In this video, I want to talk about these Broadfix flat shims. I still use traditional wood shims all the time, but for certain situations, these are awesome. And I'll give you a couple examples, but let's take a close look at these first. You can see there's various sizes, all the way from 32nd up to 1/4 inch. And here's some examples of what they are like front and back. So the 32nds are solid all the way through. And then when you start stepping up the size, they're filled in with this hard plastic material. They're still easy enough to cut with a knife or with a oscillating tool or something like that. And they're not gonna compress. They're nice solid shims. Like I said, durable material. One example of why these would beat out regular shims. First example is, let's say you're doing kitchen cabinets, base cabinets. You're gonna do a countertop, granite, quartz, marble, all of it is really heavy. First of all, wood can compress a little bit. Over time, it can even rot out if you get some moisture in there. Plastic, you're not gonna have that issue. But here's the big thing. Let's say we're gonna pretend that these are the frames of the cabinets, which is pretty typical, 1/2 inch plywood. This is what would happen when you have two cabinets together. There's a little gap here, typically, and they're attached and they're sitting separately right here. So you could take one shim and shim up this right here, and then take another shim it up here. Obviously you can get wider shims, but really the material in the front, because this is tapered, is just going to sit right here and kind of compress a little over time because those countertops are so heavy and the cabinets themselves are heavy. And the big thing is when you do this, this cabinet is going to be higher than this one. So it's a minimal difference, but if you take a flat shim, you know that these cabinets are going to be exactly even on the bottom. That's just one example. Another one is if you're doing, say, LVP flooring, and it's required that you have a gap between the wall, and you want to make sure that's even all the way around the room. Using traditional shims, obviously you're going to have to cut them to the width to make sure that you have adequate space, or you can rip down a bunch of pieces on your table saw. If you have these, you can just use these because they're the same measurement with every single shim, and use those throughout the entire room. Here's a little bonus tip for you when you're using flat shims and you're doing like fine finish work and you want to make micro adjustments. Just get a deck of playing cards. It's gonna last a lot longer than cardboard, and they're nice and flat. So if you need to shim something up in really, really small increments and you want it to be nice and flat, you can do it with playing cards. Just like that. So as I said, I still use traditional shims all the time, but for certain situations, flat shims and a deck of playing cards could be a great alternative. Hope this video helps.